Good morning, afternoon or evening. Today I'll be looking at the new major update for War Selection, which adds a lot of big things and a load of balance changes. So starting off in general, the new game mode Tug of War has been added in private matches. It's for everyone, you don't have to pay for that. I'll make a video on Tug of War separately. A list of previous online matches available, so now you can see all of your replays. Owners of the special modes, which you have to buy, can now add units and buildings to the map in Sandbox. I'll make a video on that separately as well. But now basically you can add units, any unit you want, into Sandbox, and you can add up to 100 of them at a time. Added choice of cause of defeat in private match, so anyone can now, the host of the match can now choose so that if your scout dies, you lose the game, which is a quite interesting change. You can switch that on and off. In private match, you can set the amount of starting resources, so I think that's something like normal, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million. So just a nice change, so you can decide how many you start with. Stone Age, so for the balance changes, a lot of these are the same. It's just training time decreases and reservation time decreases and price decreases, which is, I think, is just meant to speed up the pace of the game. Like, almost all of these are just price reductions, not a lot of damage increases or actual mechanics. So a lot of these I'll just roughly mention and not go into too big detail. So the first one is quite big, the Bulwark. The visibility has been significantly reduced, and the time between attacks is reduced as well, from 1.5 to 1.2 seconds. So this basically means that the Bulwark will see less around it, but will shoot faster. So when it does see something, it will shoot it faster. I guess this is done to help counter Bulwark rushes a bit better, as you have to build them a lot closer to actually be able to hit a target, because they can't see the target. The warehouse price increased from 100 to 120. This is for the Stone Age and Europe, but no one else. So it's just quite an interesting warehouse increase, not sure why. Warrior training time decreased, Maceman training time decreased, and Slinger training time decreased. All of them by 1 second. Again, I think it's just increased the time of the speed of the game and the pace. First shoe upgrade research time reduced from 30 to 20 seconds. This might actually help people get the first shoe upgrade, because it stops you getting quite a few workers if you go for the first shoe upgrade, and you'll actually get 10 seconds extra usage out of it, so that's quite good. Berry comb upgrade price increased from 150 to 170 materials, and firewood ropes increased from 175 to 200 food. So these two are just nerfing the Stone Age economy a little bit, actually by quite a bit. So we'll see how that plays out. Quite a few build orders will be changed because of that. The Wicker Sling price decreased from 200 to 250 food. That's quite useful because it's quite an expensive upgrade, really. So that'll just help slingers a little bit, and bulwarks. Early Europe warehouse price increase. Pier builds 2 times slower. So this is quite big because it will mean that Europe, well, anyone, because Asia also has this, will have their fishing economy up later, so food is going to be a little bit more of a problem, just for like maybe 10-15 seconds. You just won't have as much food. The archer damage increased from 10 to 11, basically making East Europe archers, which are the same as early Europe archers, a lot more powerful because they're so cheap and spammable. This might have been a mistake, because Eastern Europe archers are already quite strong in big blobs, but everything else has been buffed as well, so we'll see how that turns out. Legionary cost reduced from 100, 125, 125 to 100, 120, 100, so 5 less wood and 25 less iron. A nice change for the Legionary, because it's just quite an expensive unit, but it's good as well. It's very good against Asia especially. Early Asia, so that's Bronze Age and Iron Age for both early Europe and early Asia. Price for the house reduced from 135 to 120 materials. For 15 less wood for the house. It's quite good because Asia's economy is not as strong as Europe, so having cheaper buildings such as the house is quite good. Pier is the same as Europe. Observation tower visibility increased by 20%. So The observation tower is the tower that Asia builds before you upgrade it to an actual tower that shoots. So it actually has a niche now. You build one of these and have a little bit of extra vision around your base. The Spearman reserve time decreased from 29 to 22 seconds. Archer reserve time reduced. Heavy Spearman reserve time reduced. Heavy Archer reserve time reduced. Mounted Archer reserve time reduced. And Hand Ram cost and reserve time reduced. Same for the Mounted Archer, cost and reserve time reduced. So all of these units, the changes aren't significant. They're just there to really speed up the game, I think. It's not going to make a big difference. The Horse Archer costs 10 less food, nor does the Hand Ram costing 10 less food and 20 less wood. The Hand Ram's not a good unit anyway, and the Mounted Archer also is not a great unit anyway. Western Europe, Guardian Tower price reduced from 200 650 to 150 600. Quite a big buff for the Western Europe Tower. It's already quite strong, so that's just going to make it even better, as you can make more of them. Same for the Trebuchet. It's an okay unit, but making it cheaper might make it be a bit more viable, as you don't have to invest so heavily into it, as it's so weak. So even like archers can destroy it. It's low armor and health. Longbow time between attacks reduced from 2 to 1.8 seconds. It just means the longbow is just a lot better, honestly. Quite good, because the longbow isn't that powerful anymore. It used to be a lot better, but then pikes came along and onagers, so maybe the longbow will get a time in the sun. Heavy Knight armor on average increased from 12.4 to 14.1. Quite a big change for the Heavy Knight. Bit more survivability, gets a bit more damage out, might actually start getting used a bit. Crossbowman time between attacks decreased from 3.2 to 3 seconds, and projectile dispersion decreased from 14 to 13%. An okay buff for the crossbowman, but its biggest problem is that it's got really low range after the last patch, or one of the patches before. Might help a little bit though. The Cuirassier damage increased from 17 to 19. Big change for it. It's going to have a huge amount more damage. 2 extra base means it's going to go to 21 damage per hit. It's not got splash attacks, but that means it's going to be a lot better against workers and other units. Musketeer, time between shots decreased. Grenadier, time between shots decreased. Dragoon, time between shots decreased. So I think it's all gunpowder units basically in the game now shoot faster. Their reload time is insanely slow anyway, so that's going to help a lot. Bombard ammunition dispersion reduced from 20 to 18%. Bit more accurate bombard, quite good because the bombard is not a very much used unit with quite a high range, so the dispersion rate is going to be good for it. Cannon damage increase, I think that's to help counter things like tank rushes from IR. That's going to be quite good for things like the FD-17 rush or the just any light tank rush, just light tanks in general. Eastern Europe, Guardian Tower price reduced, same as the Western Europe Tower, but the Guardian Tower for Eastern Europe is just not very good anyway. Squad price reduced from 150-70 to 150-50. So 20 less iron. It's an okay change, might make it a bit more viable, but the problem with it's just got very low armor and it's slow, so it gets picked off by archers quite easily. Pennacht, I don't really know how I say that, that's a German word I guess. Time between attacks has been reduced from 3.5 to 3.2 seconds. A bit more viable of the unit now, but it still requires research and it's slow and low armor, same as the squad. Mounted Archer cost reduced from 220 to 200 food, and the time between shots has been reduced by 0.1 seconds. Not really a big buff for the Mounted Archer. The Mounted Archer is just not great anyway, I don't think. Crossbowman, time between attacks decreased from 3.2 to 3 seconds. Projectile dispersion decreased from 14 to 13%. Same as the Western Europe Crossbowman. Halberdier damage increased from 10 to 11. Halberdier replaces the pike once you reach late medieval as Eastern Europe, so that's quite good. So it might actually be better than the pike for once. Cuirassier damage increased, same as the Western Europe one, but it's got lower damage anyway, which doesn't really make sense as Eastern Europe's supposed to be the cavalry country, but oh well. Stretlets Strelets, sorry. Time between shots decreased from 4.2 to 3.3, and time between melee attacks decreased from 2 to 1.5. So it's the same as all the other gunpowder units, except it's got a melee attack buff because it's got its own special melee attack. Grenadier, time between shots reduced. Dragoon, time between shots reduced. It's the same as the gunpowder units, other gunpowder units. Cannon, damage increased, same as Western Europe. West Asia, well, it's the cannon increased damage is for the same reason, but it's lower damage. West Asia, tower price reduced, same as all the other towers, and also East Asia tower. Azap, reservation time reduced. Sarbaz, reservation time reduced. Oglan, reservation time reduced, price reduced, and the reservation limit has been increased from 2 to 3, making it a bit more useful in like situations where you just need more units. Ballista, missile dispersion reduced from 12 to 10%, making it a lot more accurate. This just means that it's going to be a lot easier to snipe things with it, because the Ballista right now is not even very good against buildings because of its accuracy. Janissary, reserve time reduced, price reduced. Bashabuzuk, time between shots decreased, same as the other gunpowder units, but it's quite big, like all the other gunpowder units. Elephant Bashabuzuk's time between shots on average reduced from 4 to 3.2 seconds. Same as the normal Bashabuzuk, but just a little bit slower because it's like I think 4 Bashabuzuks inside the elephant. And the cannon, damage increased. It's still the best cannon in medieval at 165 damage. It's gonna be quite good against tanks and so on now. Eastern Asia, Guardian Tower price decreased. Ashigaru, reserve time reduced. Archer, time between shots reduced from 2 to 1.5. The East Asia Archer is just not very good, so that's quite a nice change. Chikonu, reservation time reduced, price reduced, and time between attacks reduced, so it's the same as the normal crossbow, but the Chikonu will actually be able to be used a bit more now, even with its really short range, so anything that isn't shooting back, you can probably kite with that. Samurai, damage increased from 13 to 14, time between attacks reduced from 1.5 to 1.3 seconds, meaning it's just got a higher damage output because of its faster attack rate and just higher damage. It's just quite an expensive unit right now, so I don't know how good that is going to be against other units, but sneaking into the enemy's base and killing workers, it's going to be very good at. It already is. It's just going to be even better. Springald, time between attacks decreased from 7 to 6, maximum attack distance increased from 140 to 150, price decreased from 0,450 to 0,350. So it's 100 wood less to train and build, and fires 1 second quicker, and it also has a 10 extra range, so it can outrange most towers now. Shoots faster and it costs less, so big buff for the Springald, which really needs it. And the rocket cannon also got a big buff. All Eastern Asian siege got a big buff because it's so bad. Also 100 less wood and required population 3 to 2, so you can get more of them, and it's not as costly, so you can afford more archers and so on to protect it. Arquebusier, time between shots reduced, like other gunpowder units. Ashigaru, reserve time reduced, price reduced, and damage increased 9 to 10. The Ashigaru Yari is just not a very good unit, so this might actually help it quite a bit, especially the damage increase. Dragoon, time between shots reduced. Hand cannon, reserve time decreased, and price decreased. The price decrease is quite good for the hand cannon, because the hand cannon is not very good, specifically for the hand cannon, but everything's been reduced. Mounted Samurai, reserve time decreased from 100 to 70 seconds, damage increased from 14 to 15. So the Mounted Samurai got the same treatment as the normal Samurai. But the big thing here is that a lot of almost all the Asian units got price reductions, while the West Europe ones, most of them didn't get price reductions, which means that Asia can actually compete now maybe with Europe because of its lower economy. It doesn't have to spend as much on resources anymore. Now onto the Industrial Revolution. Machine gun tower price reduced by quite a large amount, 100 less food and 200 less wood. It's just going to be a lot easier to spam out, meaning it's going to be even harder to take out people's bases in Industrial. Anti-tank hedgehog price reduced by quite a significant amount, 20 less wood and 10 less iron. That's going to be quite useful. But I think the anti-tank hedgehog's already quite good. I think this might be reversed later on. I'm not really sure. Soldier price reduced and training time reduced. Ranger price reduced and training time reduced. Again, both of them are not hugely significant, but nice. Cavalryman price reduced by not a significant amount, 50 food. Machine gun time between attacks reduced from 4 to 3.5. It's very needed for the machine gunner because the machine gun is just not very good. But in tug of war, it is very overpowered. It's like an automatic shotgun. So hopefully this is not applying to the tug of war game mode. Howitzer time between attacks reduced from 11 to 10.5 seconds. Same with the squadron cannon by 0.5 attack seconds. The attack rate has been reduced. Quite a nice change because I guess it's just a nice change. I don't think it was needed for the howitzer, but the squadron cannon's biggest issue is that it's got a very small explosion radius and it's quite inaccurate, so it's not very good against anything but buildings at medium range, so it can't really use quite high range very effectively. The submachine gunner price reduced and training time reduced. I don't think that was very good choice because the submachine gunner is already quite good. Actually, it's very good, so reducing its price is just going to make it even better. The submachine gunner really needs a bit of a damage reduction, just a small one, because right now it can kill everything that isn't a tank, even like air units and ships. Tractor extraction speed of wheat decreased from 10 to 9.5. You might want to recruit one more tractor now, but this is quite a good change because countries like Poland were just using tractors really early on to get basically infinite food for the rest of the game, but it could be quite easily circumvented with just an extra tractor. Grenade launcher price reduced and training time reduced. Quite a big change for the grenade launcher with 100 less wood and 50 less food. The grenade launcher is quite a really good unit anyway, especially in tug of war. It just fires so fast in tug of war. They should probably be changed that. Machine controller time between attacks reduced from 5 to 4.5 seconds. Probably not needed as the machine controller is already quite good. Battleship price reduced and production time reduced. A really nice price reduction by 200 wood and time reduction to train it. Torpedo boat, a massive buff. 420 damage to 550, so that's what, 70 extra damage, I think? No, 80 extra damage, and movement speed increase, so torpedo boat's going to be very good now. It was good already, but it's even better now. Military balloon and military aerostat, time between attacks reduced and production time reduced. And the light bomber damage increase, but the light bomber is not great anyway. Might see a bit more use out of it now. Great Britain, a lot of good changes for Great Britain, even though it's already quite powerful. It might make it a bit OP now. Tank rhombus, production time decrease. The time between the primary gun attacks decreased from 6 to 5 seconds. Time between machine gun attacks decreased from 2.5 to 2.6 seconds to 2 seconds. Machine gun damage increased from 15 to 16. So the machine guns are better, they fire faster, they do more damage, and the actual main gun, the cannon, fires faster. The tank rhombus is just not a very good tank, so I think this might actually help it be relevant for Britain IR1. The Marlboro tank, the heavy tank for Britain, I can never say it though. Time between attacks reduced from 7.5 to 7 seconds, production time reduced. I don't think that's going to do too much for it because its biggest issue is it just doesn't do much damage and it's expensive and slow. Tank destroyer, time between attacks reduced from 13 to 12 seconds, production time reduced. The time between attacks is quite big for the tank destroyer because the tank destroyer is already quite powerful, so just firing more shots is even more powerful. Dreadnought price reduced from, this is just price reduction, production time reduced as well. But for the Dreadnought, the 500 less wood is really big. Seafort price reduced from 500, 1,500, 400 to 0, 1,200, 400. So a really big price reduction for the C4, 500 less food and 300 less wood. It's going to make it a lot more spammable now. Light machine gun, price reduced from 200, 270 to 180, 180, 50. Pretty good changes for the machine gun, and the time between attacks reduced by 0.6 seconds. The light machine gun is good, but it was never very great. It's more like the submachine gun level, I guess, now. Something similar. Anti-tank rifle, price reduced, and training time reduced. But the anti-tank rifle got 100 less wood and 100 less food, which is quite big. The anti-tank rifles are already really powerful. India, elephant machine gun, time between attacks reduced from 3.5 to 3.2 seconds. I think that's the same as all the other machine guns, just to keep up. And the Sikh price reduction and reserve training time, so it's the same as all the other Asian units, reduction in price and reduction in reservation time. Turkey, sniper price reduced and training time reduced, just as the same as all the other units, but it's quite a big price reduction, 50 less food, 20 less wood and 20 less iron. So the sniper is going to be the better choice of the soldier. It used to be a bit contested, but I think the sniper is always going to be a better choice of the soldier now. Artillery tower, ammunition dispersion, same for the mortar, from 20 to 18%. Both units are a lot more accurate now, except the artillery tower is just better because it doesn't take population, and it also doesn't. It's also got more armor. Germany. Some nice changes here. Big Bertha projectile dispersion reduced from 20% to 19%. It doesn't seem like a lot, but I think it is quite a big bit. I think the calculation is something like 10% extra, 10% more accurate. But the projectile dispersion has just been reduced by 1%. Flammenwerfer training time reduced, not big there. Pillbox price reduced by 100 food and 200 wood. Quite a nice change because the pillbox is just not very good at all. Russian Empire / USSR, that's just Russia. Soldier price reduced, reservation time reduced. Red Devil price reduced. Rocket launcher time between attacks reduced from 40 to 45 seconds. That doesn't make any sense because you can't reduce the price from 40 to 45, the attack rate. So I think what they mean is that it's been increased. Or they got the numbers the wrong way around. But either way, it's not a huge change. The rocket launcher is still not great because of you have to wait 40 seconds or 45 seconds to fire it. France, the FT-17, time between attacks increased from 4 to 4.2 seconds. I think that's to counter the FT-17 rushes that have been going on a lot, and France's very high win rate because of it. The Farm and Goliath required population reduced from 4 to 3. So big buff for the Farm and Goliath, which is already quite strong, but now you can actually get a lot more of them because they can only carry 1 bomb each. You can see the end now, really big patch. China, soldier price reduced, reservation time reduced. Type FD, same as the French tank, the FT-17. Howitzer, same as the normal howitzer. Type R, which is the rhombus tank, same as the normal rhombus tank, and the Type M. The Marbolo tank, same as the normal Marbolo tank for Britain. So most of the buffs for China are just following everyone else as normal, really. China's in an okay spot right now. Japan, Fugo movement and speed increase from 20 to 21. I know it's a massive change, 1 extra speed. I guess it helps it move around a bit quicker, but it's not too big. Sentoku. The cost of the MXY7 Cherry Blossom, I think that's a Sakura Blossom in the game, might have changed the name actually, has been reduced by 150 wood, which is quite good. It's already quite a strong unit, but Japan is quite expensive, so helping it a bit there would be good. And Poland, a lot of people will like this. The Ulan's time between grenade throws increased from 8 to 10 seconds, and the damage to main building decreased from 40 to 35. So the damage to main building isn't significant because it does pitiful damage to the main building anyway, but the grenade throws is quite big, 2 extra seconds between grenade throws, meaning that it's just not as good, just at all really, but it's still going to be quite a good unit because it's quite cheap. But that's the end of the patch notes. Quite a big one here. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and enjoy the rest of your day.